Programming is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City designed to inspire natural and relaxed living with a dash of southern charm. The Sweet Bay community features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and much more. It's got all the makings of a friendly neighborhood with everything you need, just a short walk away. For more information about the Sweet Bay community, call 844-35-SWEET or go online to sweetbayfl.com.
This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College. I want to thank our underwriter, Sweet Bay, for sponsoring Coach's Corner. Today, Coach Powell and I will talk about some wins last week and 4 games in 5 days this week. So, Commodores right now 3-0 overall, dropped from the state coaches poll, Coach, but that's probably because you had some games on the schedule, but they got canceled at the last second.
I would guess so. We do a top 10 poll for the state coaches weekly, and we didn't play. I believe everyone else in the state did play. I think if you had an 11th spot, they show who received votes, so we still would have been in that 11th spot. But that's fair and probably right. We didn't play because Southwest Tennessee Community College bailed out on us, and so we were still 0-0. Another team or two gets a win or two under their belt, then they deserve to be ranked right there. And we were able to start up last week, as you mentioned, and play 3 games and get 3 wins. So I don't know what it's worth really, but hopefully we slide back into that poll this week.
So now opened at home against Coastal Alabama South, because there's a South and a North.
And an East, I believe.
And an East. So at Billy Harrison Fieldhouse, won 84-62, won first quarter 48-31, first half 48-31, second half 36-31. So nice opening night. It looks like Robertson, your sophomore returner, putting up big numbers, 26 points for you.
We had a good opening night here at home. Good crowd. I was very pleased and excited. Appreciate everybody coming out for our game that Tuesday. The men were dialed in, played hard, played with a pretty good level of defensive intensity, which was nice to see for a first game. And we were able to do some things and be successful to win the basketball game. You mentioned Will Robinson had 26 points, and he had a nice ball game. And then other guys getting their first taste of college basketball did a good job too. Miles McGregor had a nice game. Josh Wade had a nice game, even though he's a sophomore. And some other guys played well also. So on Tuesday we were without Marlon Adams. He was still coming off of bone bruises in his knee. We had him over the weekend. So to be a man down and a 6'6", very strong athletic man like Marlon, to come out, play well, be successful, I was pleased with Tuesday night's performance.
Yeah, Miles McGregor had 16 for the night, and Gibson at 11. That was 3 Commodores in double figures. Only had 10 turnovers on an opening night. That's pretty good, Coach.
Well, both teams, Coach Robertson over there at Bay Minette, Coastal Alabama South, his father, Jack, was the coach there, I think, for 38 years, and now he has taken over. They teach and coach basketball at a high level and do a good job. And so we were playing a lot of half-court man, and they were playing a lot of half-court man. So the men did do a good job. We've mentioned it before, against a pressing, crazy defensive team like you face sometimes in junior college. Maybe 16 or less turnovers is ideal for a game, but in a normal, well-played basketball game, that resembles something of what basketball is supposed to be played like. If you can keep it under 14, you've done a pretty good job of taking care of the ball. So was pleased with that and thought that the men did a good job.
So, and then on Friday, we traveled up to Barnesville, Georgia, played Atlanta Metro, won 83-79. First half, they won 42-39, and in the second half, Commodores come back 44-37 for a 83-79 victory on the road against a a good Atlanta Metro team.
Atlanta Metro has a nice squad. The trip was a great trip for us, just like you've already alluded to. We have 4 games this coming week, and that will be good for us as well. In that we left Friday morning, we bust a little over 5 hours. We get off the bus, we try to get loose after, sleep in, don't sleep, when you wake the men up, when you pull into a Subway and try to get a light sandwich before the game, all of those things. And so we go out and we play. Maybe not quite as much intensity in the first half as I would have liked. In the grand scheme of things, in the bigger picture, you understand why young men maybe were a little slow to begin with. And then the last 10 minutes we played pretty well against Atlanta Metro. Both of those games, the Atlanta Metro game that we won, they had a man, number 12, not for sure of his last name, who had 30 points against us, just shot the lights out of it. And then Gordon State, St. Hillel, their best returning player, didn't play Friday against Santa Fe. And then, of course, he comes out and played against us on Saturday. And so that was a good experience for the men as well. The adversity of travel, play, get a night's sleep, travel, play, and then knowing that you're going to have a 5-hour bus ride home after the game Saturday, that was good. And then also getting an idea for these first 17 or 18 ball games that you're getting everyone's best effort. The players on the other teams, they're not injured when they play you. When you're at Gulf Coast, the best players and most of the players on the other teams, they're not suspended for the Gulf Coast game. And so that was a good experience for our guys to see what we're going to be facing night in, night out as a Panhandle Conference team and as Gulf Coast.
So Will Robertson with 20. Perfect from the free throw line, 8 of 17 from the floor, 1 of 2 from the three-point line. But you're going to have that every night out of Will Robertson.
Will has been consistent. He rebounded and defended much better this past weekend than he did Tuesday night. And we hope that just continues and grows as men get more accustomed and adjusted to the speed of college basketball. I think that our scoring will be able to spread out a little bit more than necessarily relying on Will to have 20 each night. But it's very possible that Will have, average in the high teens or maybe around 20 points a game, and I'm good with that because he's an unselfish player. He's willing to, share the ball, but we might as well take advantage of the good things that he can bring to the table.
Adams come off the bench for 16 and Smith with 11. Your 3 Commodores in double figures for the night.
Yes, Marlon came out, played very well. As we mentioned, he had missed a good amount of time. He had a bruise in both on both sides of his knee joint in the bone, and it took longer to heal than we thought it would. And then each man, before they play in a game, has to finish our preseason conditioning program. And so he had to finally get healthy. Then he had to make up all the running that he missed in the month of September and early October in order to get on the court to play. And he got all that caught up, never complained, just did it like a grown man should. I was very proud of Marlon. He came out and really busted it and did a good job against Atlanta Metro Friday night and brought some of the energy and some of the things that we needed in order to come back and win that game.
So 8 turnovers for the game. So you even were better Friday night than you were Tuesday night in the turnover aspect.
An interesting thing about Friday night with Atlanta Metro probably threw us off a little bit too. I hope it didn't slow us down, but it might have, is that in their first 2 games and in their 4th game against Santa Fe on Saturday, Atlanta Metro played 40 minutes of 2-3 zone with the exception of, at the end, having to press a little bit full court. And against us on Friday night, they played half court man and a little bit of full court man the entire game. And so you do a scouting report, you prepare the men on Wednesday and Thursday in practice, we go against zone, and then you turn around and then we didn't get one possession of being able to play against zone Friday night against Atlanta Metro.
That's why they call it game plans.
Yep.
The plan sometimes works, sometimes don't. And then we had to play on Saturday against Gordon State. Won 75-72. First half you were down 36-31, and then in the second half you come back 144-36 for a total of 75-72 at Gordon State.
It was a good win. We believe that either Gordon State or Georgia Highlands, who we play in a couple of weeks, and we play Gordon State again just right after Christmas, They're the two top teams in the state of Georgia this year, we believe, and so we're going to get 3 of our 17 non-conference games against the best we can find out of that state, and so I was proud and I was pleased with that win. We already mentioned the travel plans and the way that worked. Gordon State is tough all the time, especially at home. Coach Capers does a really nice job. A couple of reasons: when he was at Aiken Technical College, we always played Aiken Tech. He does a good job of coaching. One, I like him. He's a good man. Number 2, he does a good job coaching them, so you have to go against some zone, you have to go against some press, you have to go against some run and jump, all of those things, which helps prepare you for conference. And then of course, he just has good teams. They have good players. So to get that win on the road early in the season, they had a big win against Santa Fe the night before, but I knew it would be a challenge to go up there and win 2 games, and for the men to go do that, that was a nice weekend.
Robertson with 20 again, perfect from the free throw line, 6 of 6. Smith with a double-double, 18 points, 10 rebounds, and Gibson with 11 points for the Commodores that night.
Yeah, and I believe 2 stats that were pretty good also that night. I believe Gibson maybe had 4 assists and 1 turnover, and Daniel Kiley, I think, had 7 assists and 1 or 2 turnovers. I might be off a little bit on that, but I'm pretty close. So our point guard play was nice because when we were trailing at half, we come out and we play tough the second half against Gordon, and then we had maybe a 3 to 5 point lead at the end, and they were really trying to run and jump, trap us, things like that. And those 2 men played with their head up and saw the open man. People met the pass, and we did a good job taking care of the ball late against Gordon State. So you've mentioned turnovers in the previous 2 games, but I was more impressed and pleased with that 3rd game against Gordon State, the way we handled kind of the chaotic nature of the defense late against Gordon.
And only had 9 turnovers. So all under the 14 you talked about earlier.
Right.
So now, Commodore's going to play 4 games in 5 days, 2 of them nationally ranked this week. So you're going to get on the road Tuesday night, go play Alabama South at their place. We just played them. You expect anything different, or?
They'll have a little bit different approach at home than they did on the road. We're going to have to overcome that getting off the bus, leave at 1:30, get there 3 hours or a little bit more of a drive, get off the bus and play, knowing that we're going to be busting home after the game. So we're going to have those, adverse type thoughts and emotions and physical things to overcome that they had when they came to our place last week. And they're going to represent home very well. We know that. And so it will be a little bit different game. They'll game plan and scheme for us a little bit. We have to be prepared and ready to go tomorrow night. As we always talk about, 1 game at a time. So we'll prep today, an ice bath. We'll travel tomorrow and play, get back late tomorrow night. And then Wednesday, we'll prep and an ice bath again, each one of the men, and play Thursday night at home, which I hope we have another great crowd against Enterprise State. The men were fired up. They were amped up to play at home last week. They will be again this week. And then, as you mentioned, 2 games against nationally ranked teams on Friday at 3:30 and Saturday at 3:30 in Niceville at Northwest Florida State College. So to win the national tournament, you have to win 4 games at least in a week, depending on the way the draw goes. It's all preparation. We're trying to play good teams, play all college teams if at all possible, and prepare ourselves for January and February.
So, and San Jac is ranked 16th in the country, and Spartanburg Methodist is ranked 21st in the country in the preseason poll. So both of those will be played over in the arena. A great place to play a basketball game. Mm-hmm. So with all that being said, I'll be right back, Commodore fans, with Coach Scovel, and we'll talk about how the Lady Commodores did last week.
Programming is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City designed to inspire natural and relaxed living with a dash of southern charm. The Sweet Bay community features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and much more. It's got all the makings of a friendly neighborhood with everything you need, just a short walk away. For more information about the Sweet Bay community, call 844-35-SWEET or go online to sweetbayfl.com.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. Coach Scovel and I are going to talk about Lady Commodore basketball now. Lady Commodores 3-0 overall. State coaches poll #1 in the NJCAA national poll #1. So, but played one game last week, but it was a big game against the 23rd ranked team in the country. Played into overtime, actually won 84-81. First quarter 15-14. Second quarter 24-20, 18-15 in the third quarter. Ben Sims actually won the fourth quarter 21-13, and then we won overtime 14-11 for a total of 84-81. And just a hard-fought battle. Probably a good game for the Lady Commodores. Had to come play through adversity. Had to play through some mistakes. Had overtime against a big team, a big game. So a good win, Coach.
Absolutely. Well, any win, was a good one, especially this early on, and we learned a lot of things about ourselves. So the question is how will we come back today after the game? That we didn't shoot the ball well, we didn't defend very well. We've got some nice pieces. We keep talking about this with the ladies. We have some nice pieces, and at some point, these pieces have to start coming together. We're kind of all separated, and we're out there and on the court, and we're floundering around, but we got to start putting these pieces together. It's getting closer to Panhandle time, and so it's nice to know that we have some pieces. Now we just have to figure out how to put it all together, and hopefully, Shayla Bennett will be back for the next game, and then hopefully we're getting closer to getting Ostu Gay in there. So we need some more depth. We got leg weary, and I think that was probably the factor in the fourth quarter. We had a 12-point lead with 5:57 to go, and it just got away from us. We made some real bad mistakes in our passing and against the press, and gave up 6-8 points right in a row, and then of course they came and tied it. But we did some big things once we were kind of behind the 8 ball. Julia Dunlap had to hit 2 big free throws. We were behind 2 at the time, and so she had to hit 2 to tie the game, and then we got a big rebound and went into overtime. So and then she kind of did what she normally does in overtime to help us secure the victory. Yeah,
and she ended up with a double-double, 23 points, 15 rebounds, and in the last minutes of that game, played like Dunlap.
Yeah.
At periods during the game, her game was up and down a little bit. And, we would put 3 or 4 good possessions together, and then we may have 3 or 4 not so
bad
good
ones. Yeah, we'd get a 10-point lead, and we couldn't ever get past that mark. But we did at the 5:57 because I called the timeout and said, make sure we're smart, we play smart, and it almost seemed like the timeout cost us to go out there and not play so smart, and we were tired. We just didn't get much. We didn't get enough minutes from our bench to give us some rest this early in the season. And then, of course, we only have 9 dressed out to start with, and when 2 of them didn't give us the minutes that we needed to rest other people, we lost our legs late, and so we learned that we need conditioning. We learned that we needed those 2 extra bodies to to join us as quickly as possible. And but it was good adversity for us. We've got a lot to learn, but the question is will we come back today and try to get better?
Because that's a good wake-up call also for the Lady Commodores.
Well, you hope so.
Yeah.
But every personality, every team's a little different, and we've been pushing a lot of buttons trying to get these pieces together, and I've not hit the right buttons yet. So even as a coach, I got to try to figure this thing out and try to get the most of what we have and get them to buy in a little better and commit to more consistent practices. I think that's been our key to bad things happening to us is we're playing like we're practicing. We have to change our practice effort.
So and then Jeter had 21 for the night. Good night
but she had to take a lot of shots.
A lot of shots.
We talked about that today. That it took a lot of shots for her to get those 21 points. Last week it took 9. She was 14 for 19, and this weekend like 5 for 27. So, but she got tired, and we didn't get that rest that we needed. Yeah. So again, we have to come back this week and make a commitment that practices are going to be better.
Now, one of the things we have to talk about, 27 turnovers for the game.
Yeah, that's pretty normal for this time of year. So. 24, 23. Interesting enough, Bart Walker from Northwest just called me last night and said, I remember you doing coaching clinics and saying early on, you're going to live with 21, 24 turnovers, but by December you're going to kind of get that thing figured out. And so we're living up to that part of it. I just hope we live up to the fact that we'll get it figured out by December.
Figured out 29 of 39 from the free throw line.
Yeah, that's another thing that technique-wise, we're pretty good. It's just a mental thing, and we got to get better. So it was the first game where we had to worry about free throws, and we didn't hit them. You know, Jalea hit 2 big ones. That was the 2 most important ones. But if we'd have hit some early in the game, we might not have been in the overtime situation.
So that very true. Now, normally we would talk about our next game, but Tallahassee played Vincennes on Saturday. Now, we took a lot of gas out of them, and they're going to play in less than 24 hours an overtime game. Won 128-72. Scored 49 points in the second quarter.
Oh, yeah, they broke all kinds of records, and they're real athletic, they're quick. You know, it was good for us to see because, you know, everything's a measuring stick, and you know, the good thing is we don't have to play Tallahassee tomorrow. We have some time, and hopefully we'll have some additions to the team at that point. But, you know, thank goodness we didn't play Tallahassee Saturday because they might have done the same thing to us. But, you know, it was a different day. Like you say, Vincennes didn't get to recover very well, and they were tired and emotionally tired. They kind of, you know, they had a kid that flew in, did not practice for a whole week, and, you know, she played well against us, and then didn't have a lot left the next day. Had attended a funeral, but Tallahassee is just so aggressive and relentless, and so hopefully we sat there and watched that and realized just how committed we have to get at practice.
So hopefully that will step practice up today.
You hope so.
So you would hope that. Now, Lady Commodores will play Friday and Saturday of this week. One of those
Not this week, next week.
Next week.
We don't play this week.
No, you don't play this week. Oh, we got a lot of time to talk about them. So you're right. You play next week up in Rome, Georgia.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and talk about what you expect when you go up there.
Boy, that was tough. Last year we went to Walter State, and, you know, in the very first game of the season, Taylor Emery had to hit a shot at the buzzer for us to win. We were down 1 with 4 seconds to go, and she hit got a layup right there when the buzzer went off. So we won by 1, and then the next night we came out, and Rome State probably played us about as well as anybody did last year, and us still win the ball game. So that's going to be 2 tough ball games in Rome, but it'll be good for us. You know, we have to get ready for Panhandle play, and these teams are similar to Panhandle play. Rome State will be a lot like Vincennes and being very fundamental and breaking you down if you don't stay committed to playing defense for the full 30-second shot clock. And then Walter State, of course, he's been at the national tournament a zillion times, and he's in the Hall of Fame, so they're very well coached. So I expect that trip to be a tough one for us.
So now you got this week off. What will be the practice schedule for the Lady Commodores?
It'll be normal, yeah. 1 to 3, Monday through Thursday, and probably an early practice on Friday. Maybe take an early Thanksgiving break, let them go get to their families if they can, and then come back and get ready for, it'll be a good trip. It's always a good trip to go somewhere over the holidays and play on the road, get some adversity, so we need to go real hard this week at practice.
So we'll talk about some games then, since we have plenty of time. With other Panhandle Conference teams, Pensacola State defeated Daytona State 70-62.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Chipola defeated Florida Southwestern 61-56. They were ranked 19th in the country.
Yep.
Chipola was ranked 4th. Then on Saturday, Pensacola defeated Florida Southwestern 67-59. And Florida Southwestern, you know, like we just talked about, was ranked. Pensacola's not. But you kind of been talking about Pensacola.
And Daytona beat Chipola.
I was going to get to that one.
So, it's, but you can't sit there and compare. Just like Tallahassee scoring 128 versus us going into overtime. You can't compare one day to the next, but you can look and evaluate speed and quickness and talent. And Pensacola's got great guard play. Tallahassee has tremendous speed, and they're relentless in their defense, their full court defense. Northwest has got all the pieces at every position that you need to be successful in the Panhandle Conference, and of course Chipola is Chipola, and like everybody says, they've had 2 losses, but they'll get it going. Coach Franklin will get it going, and he'll. So the Panhandle Conference. If I had to say today that, Gulf Coast may be 5th in the Panhandle today with the pieces that we have and the things that are missing and not getting it going and not transferring things to live play. We got a lot of work to do. Our work's cut out for us in Panhandle play.
So And Northwest Florida State defeated Miami-Dade,
Yeah.
87-58. And the big one in there was Daytona State defeating Chipola.
Yeah, at Chipola. That's a little bit strange, but you know, you have those nights where you can't shoot the ball well. We didn't shoot the ball well at all early against Vincennes. You know, I think we missed our first 5 threes out of the gate and didn't feed the post. And you know, when you get behind like that, you lose your confidence, kind of shakes you, and we never did really recover from that. You know, if you knock that first one down, you let the air out and you play, and so we'll see. We have to shoot the ball better. We have to play better together, and you know, we looked good early on our defensive end, and then it got sloppy when we got tired.
And you would think with Lady Commodores, with the conditioning that's traditional for the Lady Commodores, that's kind of unusual.
Yeah, but we don't, like we say, we've had these injuries, and we were almost down to 8 players. We had another kid that almost had to sit out of Friday's game, and so we would have been down to the depth chart point guard number 3. So it's hard when you have those missing pieces and you don't have enough to practice, and Paige and JoJo are having to get in there. So we just can't get anything going. We can't get any consistency. We can't get anything. Keep having these, you know, doctor visits and sickness or minor injuries or tweaks, and we just got to get past that. And if we can, and we go to work, I think we'll be okay. Doesn't mean we're going to win, but we can at least try to get better.
And getting Bennett back will be
that'll be huge. You know, that's like when we started Friday's game with not one player from last year, and we only had one, and she didn't even average double figures last year. So we started that game on Friday with a post player who we've had to jumble her up and play her out of position because of the depth chart with not having Ostu, and so we just kind of got them messed up right now, or I do. I do, and not by choice, just by the fact that sometimes you get the cards you get dealt. You got to try to play with them, and right now I'm not making very good choices. I got to do a better job coaching.
Well, you won.
We won. Yeah, we made some plays.
And made some plays, and we're 3-0 right now.
Right.
So,
right.
And now, one of the things, I was sitting behind the bench at the game the other night, and Paige, when one of the players came off the floor, I thought, wow, she's doing a great job. She was in that player's ear talking about what she needed to be doing and what was going on. And I thought, what a great asset to have.
Oh, absolutely. JoJo and Paige. And then, of course, our coaching staff, we're all uniquely different. We all give something that is huge to the success of the program. And Paige is full of energy. If we could get some of that energy transferred from her to the players, and Paige wipes the slate clean every day and comes in there. And, you know, when you kind of work for free and volunteer, I'm amazed that, and JoJo the same. They both play, they encourage them, they get on them, they talk to them, they talk real to them. So, you know, our coaching staff, we feel pretty good about us. Maybe we shouldn't at this point, but we do, and we're going to keep plugging at it, and we're going to try to get this thing going.
Well, I saw those two fill in for practice.
Yeah.
And
yeah, sometimes they're the best players on the floor.
I think they could put uniforms back on and help us. You know,
absolutely.
So what a tremendous effort from those two. And then you see one come and sit next to Coach Hicks and have her arm around her and talking in her ear about what I need to do and stuff like that. So that chemistry's there. So so we about talked through our time, Coach.
Good.
So for Coach Rooney Scovel, I'm James Spaxley. We'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.